After WrestleMania 33 had come to an end, after the dust had settled, and after they put out the set which was on fire, Jesus Christ, look at that, we were all pretty sure that we'd just seen The Undertaker's retirement match. He took off his hat, gloves and jacket and left them in the centre of the ring to be dry cleaned, a fitting final image of the most iconic men in the history of lifting dudes. However, rumours are swirling that the dead man might not be done with the dub, and that his appearance on the 25th anniversary episode of Raw is going to set up something. Will he set up one more match? And crucially, if he does, who do you want to see retire the Phenom? I have some suggestions. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic.com, and here are 10 pitches for The Undertaker's last WWE match. Join us! Number 10, the Roman Rerun. Now, we don't know why Taker is rumoured to be coming back. Perhaps it's loyalty to Vince, perhaps it's the lure of one last great payday, perhaps Michelle McCool has only got so much chat. But if we had to guess, it would be that the match that we thought was The Undertaker's last ride was actually not all that great. It wasn't dreadful, but Taker has a legacy to maintain, and you imagine that he wants his last match to be a beaut. So why not take a mulligan and redo his match with Roman? The second match between wrestlers tends to be better than their first, and after all, the story's there. Roman's been spouting off about retiring Taker, and we know from the Dead Man's feud with Brock Lesnar that he doesn't take kindly to that, and is liable to show up out of nowhere and kick you in the dick. Number 9, a different Samoan Joe. Wrestling Taker is a shortcut to main event credibility. Mark Calloway has final veto over who he wrestles, which makes stepping into the ring with him a huge endorsement of respect, resonating both with fans and industry alike. And one guy who's a single iconic match away from being a made man in WWE is Samoa Joe. While it may not strike you to be an immediately obvious dream match, the Destroyer would be a great foil for Taker. Both men are renowned for being great strikers, although Taker actually isn't really. Both men have lethal submissions, and both men are seasoned vets with a history of carrying companies on their back. Number 8, Phenom versus Phenomenal. The branding just writes itself, and you know that makes Stephanie McMahon very excited. AJ Styles is potentially the greatest wrestler alive. Go on, at me. He could have a 4-star match with a small wooden chair if he wanted, so if quality is what Taker is looking for in his final matchup, there's none more reliable than the Phenomenal one. Also, and this is a major also, he's the current WWE champion. What better for Undertaker's last match than retiring with the company's most prestigious and tenured title? Which isn't to say that I'm pitching for Taker to beat AJ necessarily. I know that'll make you all sorts of adorably cross, but what an idea. Phenom versus Phenomenal, title versus career. Number 7, the Brothers' Last Ride. Okay, look, just hang on, I get it. The majority of you don't want to see Kane in a major pay-per-view in 2018. The reaction to the Royal Rumble Triple Threat has made that awfully clear. But look, can we not? Can we? It's gotta be Kane. He's the Undertaker's sort of brother, sort of. And there's no one on WWE's roster that has a more storied history with the Dead Man than the Big Red Machine. Sure, the match would be slow, and sure, you know, it's Kane, but it's hard to deny that it wouldn't at least be narratively satisfying for the brothers to duke it out one last time in a double retirement match. Number 6, Mark versus Kevin. Kevin Owens has teetered on the precipice of greatness ever since he first showed up in WWE. He's been NXT champion, Universal champion, and champion of Ross Tweddell's heart and balls, but despite all of these accolades, it's always seemed a little like WWE have been holding back from properly investing in Big Kev. He's fantastic in the ring, one of his generation's best mic workers, and more than deserving of a showpiece match with Undertaker. If you're looking for superb storytelling, exemplary promos, and a dynamic that seems odd but would actually produce magic, KO should be your MO. Number 5, the Shawn Michaels Trilogy. This one's the least likely for a number of reasons, chief of them all being that Shawn seems perfectly happy hunting bucks in the wild, making questionable movies, and showing up to say HP shizzle and cash his check. But oh, wouldn't it be nice? Undertaker's matches with HBK were some of the best in WrestleMania history, and though both men are older now, there's still an appetite for the trilogy to be closed off. It may be part-timer versus part-timer, but in this case that could actually be an advantage. If it's made clear that this is the final match for both men, suddenly the winner becomes a lot less certain. Does Taker win his final match against his greatest foe, or does Michaels finally chalk up a win over Taker at the show of shows? Number 4, Dead Man versus Strowman. Hoss fight! Now, I don't want to see Taker die in the middle of the ring either, but I sure do want to see Taker versus Strowman. Curiously, this match was actually pitched for WrestleMania 32, but Undertaker refused because he, like all of us at the time, thought Braun Strowman was a bit crap. Well, you can't spell wrong without Strowman, and also the letter G. And now that the Monster Among Men is one of the hottest commodities in wrestling, a match between the two colossi would be better late than never. Number 3, an Olympic retirement. Kurt Angle and The Undertaker have wrestled a bunch of times on pay-per-view with one stone classic already to their collective name. We're talking No Way Out 2006 BT dubs. Now WWE have somewhat chipped away at Kurt's hype by having him wrestle twice in 2 months, and in one of those they dressed him up like the guy who lives next door to you who's super into Neighbor Watch. Despite this, a retirement showdown between Kurt Angle and The Undertaker has to be considered one hell of a money match, especially considering that they've madly never wrestled at Mania. Number 2, Revenge of the Streak. Now sure, The Undertaker vs Brock Lesnar feels like it's a told story. Taker returned, made a foot-based statement to Bork's Knackers, before finally losing the feud 2-1 inside Hell in a Cell. However, WrestleMania 34 is taking place in the Superdome in New Orleans, which some of you might remember as the same building where The Undertaker's streak died. Bringing Undertaker back for a match at the site of his greatest ever defeat seems too good to pass up, especially if he tries to avenge his loss by taking down Brock Lesnar. Like AJ Styles, Brock is currently a world champion, and while Taker looking to retire as Universal Champion doesn't have quite the same historical significance, it would be a great tale of revenge to rip the title from Brock in the building where he beat the streak. Number 1, Jinder Mahal. I'm just kidding, calm down. John Cena. What else could be number 1? Taker vs Cena is such a WrestleMania dream match that it's baffling to think that it's never been booked. Cena was likely going to wrestle the dead man at Mania 32 before he racked up a shoulder injury, but WWE chose to shun the match a year later, putting a big dog in Cena's place. Now sure, John Cena doesn't really need to be Undertaker's final opponent, but maybe we need that. Ask yourself, do you really want The Undertaker to retire without facing John Cena at WrestleMania? The leader of the C Nation has a habit of flourishing in big match situations, hence his nickname, Johnny Big Matches, the Big Match Boy, and what could be a bigger match for either man right now than John Cena versus The Undertaker? And that's our list. Who would you like to see face The Undertaker, and why am I wrong? Tell us about it in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You can pledge to us on Patreon here, and most importantly, don't forget, gong, to join us.